Well, you know how they like to say that Mother's Day is every day? Well, when you have 5 kids and they're spread out all over the place and it's a pandemic, Mother's Day tends to kind of be an ongoing situation. So on Mother's Day, I had gotten these absolutely gorgeous flowers from Avery and from Jasmine, his girlfriend. And I got phone calls from everybody, but the gifts are still rolling in. So Mama wants to shout out to Lizzie because this absolutely amazing piece of jewelry, oh, I got to get all the way up here, right? So this was made for me. It's got all the women in my line in it. So it has a birthstone from my grandmother, my mother, myself, and Elizabeth. Now, I actually had a woman my age that I went to school with. We're not naming any names because we're grown-ups here. We don't need to do that. But she informed me just yesterday that I don't have a daughter, that I only have 4 sons. And I had to smile into the phone and explain that I most certainly do have a daughter. Her name is Elizabeth, and I did not give birth to my daughter, but she's my daughter. Yes, families are what we make of them. Elizabeth needed more family, and I personally needed more daughter, particularly of the Elizabeth variety, who is amazing and smart and loving and caring and a fantastic artist. So, anybody who's asking, hey Andrew, I do have a daughter. So I have 4 sons by childbirth, and I have my Elizabeth because that's who the universe gave me as daughter. Yes, and so since this arrived today, I scrapped the 2 stories I was going to do, and I found 2 of my favorite stories about another girl, a fantastic girl, a girl named Laurel. Laurel was the little girl's name that I used for one of my mermaid books. And Laurel came into my life, and she was shared with me for a brief little while in the mornings by her incredible mom, Teresa. Rock on, Teresa. So these are 2 stories from the Christian Science Monitor that were Laurel inspired. And I just got tickled when I was reading them over again today. So here we go. It's Laurel time. It's called Mother's Day Gift to Mom of 4 Boys, a Little Girl with Willy Wonka Lift. And this was from May 12th, 2013. Okay. This Mother's Day, my gift came early in the form of a reality check on my relaxed and fun quotients. I learned to enjoy the present thanks to a little girl named Laurel, 7 years old at the time, who entered our lives for school day mornings a few months ago and helped me get my mom's skills to sparkle and shine again. Laurel is in the chess program I run at the local community center, and she's always there and smiling no matter what. Win, lose, draw, cookie falls on the floor, she giggles through it all. After being uncharacteristically absent for 2 weeks, Laurel came in one afternoon very somber. And she asked me, Mrs. Suhay, are you going to die today? When I made light of it, telling her I didn't have that on my social calendar, Laurel solemnly replied, my daddy died. Am I going to die today? That exchange led to a chat with her mom, Teresa, and learning that Laurel's stepfather died very suddenly of a stroke at age 34. The shock of the loss had the effect of shattering Laurel's rose-colored view of the world. Then I learned that Laurel's mom was up at 5 each morning in order to drive her 18-month-old son to daycare across town and then get back to our neck of the woods to get Laurel to a breakfast program at school and then finally get to work again across town. Both Laurel and my son Quinn, 9 at the time, attended the same elementary school, and it seemed an easy fix to offer to take Laurel from 7 to 8:30 each morning, give her breakfast, take her to school with Quinn for the remainder of the school year. My husband has a key phrase that applies here. Everything is easy when you don't know what you're doing. I learned fast that I was right out of my depth with a little girl. True confession time. I've always longed for a daughter, but said otherwise so as to not hurt my son's feelings or appear to be ungrateful for the gift of my 4 boys. So Laurel became part of our morning routine for the past several months. She's back to her old self, which is to say that this little red-haired, high-energy child is as effervescent, unpredictable, and dangerous, when applied incorrectly, as one of Willy Wonka's fizzy lifting drinks. Here is the daughter of my dreams. And she drove me crazy from the moment she walked in the door because I had completely lost touch with my inner child. Gone. Here's a child in a stereotypical high-pitched baby talk voice in pink with the attention span of a butterfly, but the optimism of Super Pollyanna. If you put Laurel in a room full of poop, she would scream, "Yay!" And she'd run right in there looking for the pony that made it. And I caught myself cringing and developing a sharp tone when answering her questions and feeling angst when it was time for her to arrive. What was wrong with me? And she had a similar effect on Quinn, only to the multiple of pi. His Asperger's nature means that interruption of routine can melt him down. And since my husband is exactly the same way, well, over time, I've learned to keep things quiet, predictable, and extremely low-key in order to keep the peace. Why do you think everything is fun? Quinn demanded in frustration of Laurel as she tried to mimic him using a hula hoop as a jump rope, resulting in hitting me in the head and knocking me loopy. Unfazed, Laurel squeaked out, "'Cause I'm a girl." No, not all girls think everything is fun, like my mom, Quinn sputtered. Would you think it's fun if Godzilla came out of the river over there? Without the slightest hesitation, she squealed, "Yes!" Then she whirled around in an epic non sequitur and shouted, "Kitty!" at one of our cats. Oh my God. Mom, she is just like the dog in that movie, Up. The one that would be in the middle of a sentence and would just shout, "Squirrel," Quinn said in despair. She was doing it really more to make him groan, because that made her laugh than because she was actually ditzy. Okay, she was pretty ditzy. But she really put it into hyperactive hyperdrive for Quinn. I actually made a little video of them, comparing them to the cartoon Dexter's Lab, with Quinn as Dexter and Laurel as Dee Dee. And her mom and I had hours of laughs over the truth of that revelation. Unfortunately, Laurel saw the video and has embraced the Dee Dee role with more favor, and she's taken to calling Quinn Dexter. After the second week of mornings with Laurel, my husband finally met her and gave me that husband look that lets you know a big gotcha is about to manifest. She does everything that you do that drives me crazy, he said. You make everything funny, or you did, until you finally learned how to tone it down. I was incensed that he dare accuse me of being girly. And that's when reality tapped me on the shoulder and whispered in my ear that he was right. There was nothing wrong with Laurel. I was the problem. I'd stopped many of my happy, skippy, fuzzy pink, optimistic behaviors in the past few years, and I just hadn't realized it. See, moms are like minerals. The pressure can make us into diamonds, which is great, but diamonds need a lot of work to shine properly, and I was still in the rough and didn't even know it. Having 4 boys, one in college, the others headed to university in the fall, working from home in a bad economy, has both seasoned and toughened me up. I am a diamond in the rough with one glaring flaw. I had forgotten how to be a kid of either gender. It's taken the Laurel experience, being in another mom's shoes, to cut me down to the size of a real mom. In a house full of men and boys, instead of showing them how wonderful it can be to be yourself, to be sparkly and free, I had bowed to the household trend and blended into the crowd. Laurel brought back my fun side, and she helped me to see that if we want our kids to be themselves, then we need to not bow to peer pressure, even in our own homes. For Mother's Day, I'm going to ask them to skip the usual breakfast in bed, crank the stereo to my favorite music, make waffles, and then paint my nails hot pink with little sparkly thingies on them. Yes, I may even wear heels with an apron just to freak them out as much as possible. After all, I'm making up for lost time. My father. This reminded me of my father. Now, it's interesting it reminded me of my father because I've literally thought I had 0 good memories of my dad. My dad was not a good guy. I mean, maybe he was when I was a little girl, but as an alcoholic, he kind of lost all his good guy points for good and all. But this reminded me, and I don't even know why, that when I was a little girl, my dad used to sing the same song to me when it was time for me to go to bed. And he would sing in the French accent and all, for anyone who knows who originally sang it. Thank heaven for little girls get bigger every day. Thank heaven for little girls, right? They grow up in the most delightful ways. Their little eyes so helpless and appealing, one day will flash and send you crashing through the ceiling. Thank heaven for little girls, thank heaven for them all, no matter where, no matter who. Without them, what would little boys do? Happy memory. Yay, found a happy thought. Dang, I can keep reading these columns. Okay, so the second and final story is once again a Laurel tale, and it is from May 14th, 2013. It was a very good year. It was a very Laurel year. And the headline was, Disney Princess Merida Makeover, a 7-year-old's verdict on the brave heroine. I don't know if you could see this. I don't know if you remember, but we went from normal size Merida to Vixen Merida. Yeah, that was a bad idea. I'm about to tell you why and what happened. Because this article that got like 1 million hits on the Christian Science Monitor website was part of what changed it. Here we go. The newest, most feminist-forward Disney princess, Merida, of the animated film Brave, asks, if you had the chance to change your fate, would you? Disney corporate answered with a resounding no when it stuck to gender-type tradition and converted the disheveled, feisty, normally proportioned, self-reliant Archer to a slimmer, glitzy, doe-eyed version, sparking a petition by outraged fans. Worse, it disappointed a little red-haired girl I babysit because it put her princess dream back out of reach. Merida was crowned as Disney's 11th official princess Thursday at Disney World, but sadly, it wasn't the sassy Scottish lassie who won her own freedom with archery and willpower, who took the stage at the coronation. Instead, Disney marketing missed the target again, where the good of little girls is concerned, and sexed up the character with more cleavage and a vapid look. Yuck, squeaked Laurel when her baby blue eyes saw the side-by-side photos after the version of Merida was on my computer that morning. Laurel, who is 7 and has wavy, bright red hair, likes to hover at my right shoulder like a ditzy little angel in the mornings when I blogged about her. And she's always on the lookout to see if her face is going to be on the screen. Yuck, I responded. Which one's the yuck? Which one do you like? Chunky little finger went to the old Merida. So I asked her why, and she responded with what, for Laurel, was a super cohesive answer. The one in dark blue is smiling and her hair's prettier because it's more like mine, and because the new one's scary pretty with all that blowy hair and the cat eyes. The new one looks really mean, and I don't know her. Then she made my day and my blog by pointing back to the makeover Merida and asking, "Is that evil Merida?" Oh, it took a Herculean restraint not to say, "Yes, behold the demon Disney spawn. That is a slimmer, girlier, and more stereotypical version, wrought in the cauldron of marketing's poisonous spell." Didn't do that. Instead, I simply explained that Disney had given her a makeover. To which Laurel simply replied, "Oh, well, that's too bad." For those, like me, who agree with Laurel's assessment of the Disney-engineered damage to how girls view themselves and their future roles as women, there's a petition. Disney, say no to the Merida makeover. Keep our hero brave. It was online at change.org. The petition, created by webmasters at A Mighty Girl, read in part, "The redesign of Merida in advance of her official introduction as the Disney Princess Collection does a tremendous disservice to the millions of children for whom Merida is an empowering role model who speaks to girls' capacity to be change agents in the world rather than just trophies to be admired. Moreover, by making her skinnier, sexier, and more mature in appearance, you are sending a message to girls that the original, realistic, teenage-appearing version of Merida is inferior. That for girls and women to have value, to be recognized as true princesses, or queens, they must conform to a narrow definition of beauty." The petition also quotes brave writer and co-director Brenda Chapman in a 2011 interview with Pixel Portal. Quote, "Because of marketing, little girls gravitate towards princess products. So my goal was to offer up a different kind of princess, a stronger princess that both mothers and daughters could relate to, so that mothers wouldn't be pulling their hair out when their little girls were trying to dress or act like this princess. Instead, they'd be like, 'Yeah, you go, girl.'" This new Merida is definitely the opposite of what her creator intended. So I found myself signing a petition in support of an imaginary girl because I believe in real girls like Laurel having a fighting chance at hitting the target of self-esteem in life. I believe that they like themselves a little more and dream with a little bit more confidence when the waistlines and imaginations are slightly expanded in their role models. If you had the choice to change a little girl's fate of self-loathing and obsession with makeup, hair, and wasp-waisted fashion slavery, would you? I would. And I don't even have a daughter of my own. Also, as a mother of 4 sons, I want more of the old Meridas out there in the dating pool for them to meet. The golden rule of parenting is to be consistent and not mix messages. Disney is exhibiting some poor parenting of its brands with this move. It's also making the error of telling us, "Do as I say, but not as I do." Brave succeeded because it resonated with all of us who might not have ever fit the princess mold, but who've risen to be the queens of our own castles by being brave enough to overcome the stereotypes that weighed us down early in life. If you want to see a real princess, cast your gaze back at England's late Princess Diana, when she walked the minefields of Cambodia in support of children who'd been disfigured by the devices. Diana looked every inch a princess of the realm then, when she wore that plastic face shield, helmet, and khakis, as she championed the landmine ban treaty. While Princess Diana was often noted for her fashion sense and beauty, she also had the courage to help people while not looking like a fashion model. As the queens of our own little realms, we must unite the feminist clans against the dark army of old school marketing shills that has captured our princess. Personally, I'd love to see moms put on Disney princess protests in their own areas by dressing their little girls up as their favorite Disney costume, but with really messy hair and dirty smudges on their cheeks, tiara rakishly askew. Can we do that? Yeah, we can. Tiara rakishly askew. I vow to tilt my crown, roll up my frilly sleeves, and let Disney and little girls everywhere know that being a good ruler is a dirty job. Instead of asking little girls, would you change your fate? I'd rather ask Disney, if you had the chance to change your mind, would you? Let's hope they're brave enough to admit defeat and retreat from the attack in progress. And just by the way, we won that fight. Disney gave us back our princess. Oh yeah, and I can shoot that really, really well. So, I'm glad that everybody joined me tonight for this extended Mother's Day glorious edition. And I hope that you all have a great night, and I will see you again tomorrow.